I'm Steve Purcell from M60 Media, and this is 5 iOS apps that you should be using to get the best from your DJI Drone. Roll the intro. The buzzword is cinematic, and if you want cinematic footage, you should be using ND filters. And if you're using ND filters, you should be using Filter Calculator from Polar Pro. This is number 5 in our list of apps. Simple little app, but really useful. All you need to do with this is put whatever frames per second you're filming at, the current shutter speed, and it will calculate which ND filter you should be using in that scenario. A couple of other little features included, such as golden hour, the weather, KP index, and wind speed and direction. All in all, a great little app that everybody should have in their locker. People always ask questions regarding batteries. Quite a complicated subject. This app at number 4 can really help you out. It's by Faulkner Labs, and it's called Drone Start. Drone Start from Faulkner Labs. It's a subscription-based app, but it's not that expensive, and they also offer a sort of free version. Doesn't have all the bells and whistles as the paid one, but it's still worth having. Now, we all know that the battery is a very important component in your drone. This you use to test your batteries, and it gives you all the information you need, whether there's any issues with your battery. Another good feature is the pre-flight checklist. Now, if you're anything like me, I'm constantly forgetting to take off my gimbal guard, and this reminds me to do that. You can put a custom checklist in to tell it to do whatever you want. Anything you can think of, you can add to the checklist. So if you're forgetful, put it in your checklist, and before you set off with your drone, this will remind you. Very popular thing to do with your drone is to take panorama photographs. And this, at number 3, is one of the best apps for doing that. It's Hanger 360. If you're like me and you don't really want to bother stitching all your photographs together, this just automatically does it. You send your drone up, it takes the photographs, you download them, and Hanger takes care of everything. The results are absolutely fantastic. It's one of the best apps for doing 360s. The only downside is there's not really any way of you downloading the 360. It's stored on their servers. You can post it to things like Facebook and other social media sites, but I think it's something they may look at in the future so you can actually download and store them yourself. But all in all, for free, it's fantastic. One of the most complicated things with operating a drone is rules, regulations and laws. Every country has different rules, every state has different rules. This can be quite confusing. Our number 2 app is something I use to get over that hurdle. It's called HammerAMap. HammerAMap is an invaluable app. It's something I use with every flight. Now, we all know the rules with flying a drone are varied from country to country. Even in the same country, you can have different rules for different areas. So it's quite confusing for us drone pilots. Now, what this app does, which a lot of other apps do with no-fly zones, is it warns you about things that are in the area, such as airports, prisons, that kind of thing. But the single best feature is that you create a flight plan. Now, with the flight plan, you put in some simple details, the altitude you're going to be flying at, the radius you're going to be flying at, the time of day, the date, and then this creates the flight plan, which then sends up, so there's a notification to airmen. It's sort of a safety blanket for you, so people know your drone is in that area at that altitude. It's simple, but really, really effective. So we're almost at the end of the countdown of the 5 apps that you should be using with your DJI drone. And what's our number 1? Well, in my opinion, the best app that you should be using is Logix Autopilot. Pilot by Logix. Not a cheap app. It's probably the most expensive app you will buy to use with your drone, but it's worth every penny. Two standout features for me personally. First thing is in the flight control cruise mode. What this does is it imitates Inspire-like gimbal actions, so you can keep your subject focused in the center of the frame. Absolutely blew my mind the first time I used this, and it saved me going and buying an Inspire, which I'd love to do, but couldn't justify the outlay and the cost. The other thing is in flight mode, you can set this to follow your iPhone or your iPad. It has a barometric reader, so this is called airspace. Now if you use something like riding a motorcycle or a cycle through hills, if you use the DJI Go app, that will follow you to an extent, but it won't rise and fall with your rise and fall. Using airspace gives you that ability. Worth buying the app for that alone. So if you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button. If you haven't already, consider subscribing, and I'd also love to see your comments down below. I'll see you in the next episode.